Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And all around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, sick and tired of this anime bullshit.
Be honest with me, Rem. Did you look up the lyrics just so you could make that joke?
I wanted to make sure I knew the second verse correctly.
Oh, man.
Because for me, it's one of those ones where I didn't remember worn out places, right?
Right.
So I was like, is it just a bunch of faces?
It's just a bunch of faces
Worn out
everywhere.
faces. Worn out faces again.
To be fair, with a lot of modern, pop tunes, that isn't a bad guess, I don't think. And that's not just me being an old man who has very specific music tastes. There is a lot of, very popular tunes that are the same, 5 words repeated over and over and over again.
It's true.
But yeah, no, Rem, another week, another day to watch some animes. And I'm feeling pretty decently because of our pre-banter. I feel very good with how well I did, even though the quiz wasn't all that impressive, in my opinion.
For non-patrons, Shaun got to show how much of a weeb he is, and it turns out he's a weeb. So, with that knowledge,
now they're never gonna join the Patreon, Rem.
Oh no! What does your weeby self have in store for this week, Shaun?
Well, Remington, last week we kind of had a bit of a controversial episode.
Yeah.
Not controversial on our end, per se. Just controversial.
I don't know. I had some pretty controversial opinions, despite agreeing.
Yeah. Which is a wild thing to consider. So you'll have to go back and listen to that one if you're curious on how that went. But I figured that this week, we would, delve a little bit more into some controversy.
Oh, perfect. All right, awesome.
But not the kind of controversy you're thinking of, Rem.
Okay, what kind of controversy?
This is a Remington controversy.
Ah, shit, what did I do this time?
It's not so much what you've done, it's what you've said over a period of 3 years and many, many episodes.
I've said a lot of things.
You have said a lot of things. We have literal, hours upon hours of content. But there's a show that a lot of people have recommended I show you because they are dying to hear your opinion on it. They want nothing more in the world than to hear what you have to say about this anime. And I thought, it might be a good time to break it out. It's a relatively recent one. Came out in fall of 2020 for the first half, and then the second half was early 2021, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
And it's about one of your favorite subjects, Rem.
Yeah?
Do you have any guesses on what one of your favorite subjects could be?
You see, what I'm hoping for is an honest answer of child murder. What I'm worried about is the dishonest fuckery of sister fucking. So
well,
it depends what direction you're taking it, really.
Well, Rem, I will neither confirm nor deny the involvement of any sister fucking in this anime.
All right,
if there is, it is very well hidden.
All right, cool.
And if anything, it's more likely going to be a brother fucking scenario. It's hard to tell, honestly.
Okay.
Because, Remington, we're going to be talking about one of your favorite subjects, which is mystery.
I like mystery.
You do like mystery. Psychological, it's described as.
Yep, that's
got a bit
plus.
of suspense.
Yeah,
which is always fun.
Good stuff.
And it's historical as well, apparently.
I don't think there've been any good historical anime thus far, but the other descriptions sound good enough, so.
I will say that historical seems like the least accurate descriptor of this anime.
All right, cool.
And you'll understand once I tell you what it is. But based on all of our previous conversations involving mystery, I figured what better way to spend a week than talking about an anime simply titled Yukoku no Moriarty. Otherwise called Moriarty the Patriot.
Oh no.
It's your old favorite Sherlock, Rem.
Oh, you're combining two of my least favorite things. All right, so for those who don't know, Sherlock Holmes is one of my least favorite, like, iconic characters of all time. Like, they're shit. Almost every single rendition of Sherlock is shit. It's terrible, including a lot of the original Sherlock, frankly. And then any future depiction, because it's not like, wow, look at this really interesting, clever dude who thinks in interesting ways and is really observant. It's, wow, look, he's magic. What are you talking about? He's just really smart. No, but like in a way that you would have to be magic to actually accomplish, though, which would be fine if they're just like, yeah, he does it with fucking magic. But it's real annoying when they're like, oh yeah, no, this is just how intelligence and observation works. It's fucking not.
Hey, look, man. Anybody could have told by red dots on a body that he was killed by a jellyfish.
They're very poor deductions because there's so many possibilities that are being blatantly ignored here. Oh, fucking hell. All right. Why is Moriarty a patriot?
He recently got signed on the football team, and he's planning on getting himself a ring, this year. He's really going for it.
Actually, a sports anime. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, never would have guessed. But weirdly, so I know how much you hate Sherlock, but I figured, hey, if there's one way for Remington to enjoy a Sherlock-type thing, it's if we make the main character his arch rival and the bad guy, and make Sherlock kind of like the antagonist of the series.
I think they're just gonna do the same bullshit, but edgier. I think this is just an excuse to do the same nonsense, like, wow, look how smart they are, but this time be brooding and be like, oh, but good guy, he's actually so bad. Meanwhile, me, look how tragic and forlorn I am. Wow, I'm actually far more reasonable than you ever would have thought. Like, shut the fuck up. Oh, okay, all right.
So you can see what I mean when I say historical seems like a bit of a stretch, right?
I fucking hate this shit.
But yeah, this is the story of William James Moriarty, the second son of the Moriarty household, who is being a consult for the common folk, and a great desire to destroy the current state of British society.
Sure.
And so the show is him going through and facing his arch rival, who he may want to scootily poop with. I'm not going to confirm or deny it, but it's definitely got those vibes. And just the story of Moriarty. Isn't that interesting, Rem?
Moriarty shows up in, like, 2 of the Sherlock stories.
Yeah, and he's barely relevant in either one.
Like, he's a big bad, but... Well, I mean, I guess he is relevant for, like, good old, like, basically murder-suicide with Sherlock. But even then, Sherlock just comes back anyways. It doesn't... None of it... Oh, God. All right.
Well, hey, Rem, maybe this is the chance to find a Sherlock property that you actually enjoy. Maybe it's going to frame it in a perspective that'll be like, you know what? Sherlock is still horrible, but hey, at least they tried to do something interesting with the IP. Maybe that's what you're going to have going for you in this one, Rem.
I will be astonished, but it is possible.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, Remington, I think that's all I need.
We've said enough. All right.
I mean, Rem, what more is there to say? Like, if you don't know who Moriarty is...
You know what more there is to say, Shaun?
What's that?
Sorry. You should say sorry for making me endure this nonsense.
Rem, I could have just straight up lied about the title of the anime. I could have, like, put a weird pronunciation on Moriarty and made you think it was something completely different and not giving you the English title. I'm being upfront and honest with you. How much more upset would you have been if we had just gone into this and you found out it was a Sherlock style thing?
I'm already in the abyss. I have nothing to offer.
Well, Rem, I would say I'm sorry, but at the same time, my guy, you have broken a lot of hearts. So maybe you should hire a consultant of the common people, William James Moriarty, to help you get through these tough times.
What the fuck?
So without further ado, Rem, let's go watch some Yukoku no Moriarty.
Up next.
So it will come to very little surprise. I was a fan of Moriarty the Patriot.
Previously.
You should say sorry for making me endure this nonsense.
I would say I'm sorry, but at the same time, my guy, you have broken a lot of hearts.
Now, back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after watching 5 whole episodes of Moriarty the Patriot. And Remington, have you come out of this experience with a whole new perspective on the universe of Sherlock Holmes?
No.
Oh.
No, not at all.
But Remington, it's completely different. How it's about the bad guy in Sherlock Holmes. Surely this had to have shifted your perspective.
All right. So, okay. All right.
Okay.
So it will come to very little surprise. I was not a fan of Moriarty the Patriot. I thought the show was quite bad. For many reasons.
Oh, but surely, Remington, if you analyze the data of the show, 80% of you should be correct.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. We'll get to that. Well, oh, you knew I was gonna have that in my notes. All right. We'll get to that. So this has all the same problems as Sherlock and any overpowered anime nonsense where it's like, wow, look, they're so perfect and amazing at everything. Which is both annoying and boring. So, it's just not good. But it combines that, right? It essentially, hey, do you want Sherlock Holmes, but like Shaun, you know how there's Sonic the Hedgehog, and then did you ever play the Shadow the Hedgehog game?
Oh yeah, where they gave Shadow the Hedgehog fucking guns.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is the cool Sherlock. That's what they did here. It's a cool Sherlock Holmes, man. It's an edgy. He's perfect and flawless, but he's also a total edgelord. And his brother is ready to shank you, and that's all the brother is there for. I don't know what the. Who asked for this? It's like if somebody was like, oh, you know what? I really like Sherlock Holmes, but I also am existentially inspired by the Joker. Mm-hmm. So, or even better, it's like, hey, do you want secondhand Sherlock Holmes combined with secondhand Death Note? Because at its core, especially thematically, that's what the show really is.
We've got Sherlock Holmes at home.
Yeah. And it wants to be like Death Note, especially with the character motivations.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot worse.
Ooh.
Let's get started. We have a framing device where we have early 1900s, like New York, and a kid is reading Sherlock Holmes, and they show a picture of Moriarty, and it's like this classic like book picture of an old man Moriarty, and then that immediately transitions into like beautiful anime stud Moriarty.
This Moriarty fucks.
Oh yeah, in a way that like old school Moriarty never could.
No.
All right, and so after the framing device, we see a kid trapped in an alley. He gets captured, and he fucking dies. Fuck you, kid. Moriarty is reading the news about this, and he's like, oh man, it's a tragic affair, and they can't solve it. And it's like, oh no. But he's like, but actually, I've already figured it out. You see, because of all of the kids, their parents' professions, But what about there was one kid who didn't have any parents. He was an orphan on the outside, and he's like, aha. So with the parents' professions, it means he's someone rich who would have come into contact with absolutely each one of them. And then for the homeless one, there's exactly one window, only one, that he would have been able to see it by. Unfortunately, as we learn, there's only one guy who sits there all the fucking time.
Well, no, Rem. They said he doesn't sit there all the time, only whenever it's available.
But hey, fuck you. We know it's him now. And so I've just summarized 50% of the episode. It's all bad and dumb. That's the whole mystery is just, aha, so it's you. And then he approaches the guy, and Moriarty is straight up just like, hey, bitch, you've been killing kids lately. Like, in this public setting. And then the dude is like, I'm gonna get out of here. Because, like, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what's this interrogation style, my dude? What the fuck? But evidently, the Earl, who's the guilty party, he sent a goon Moriarty's way to capture him on his way out. But Moriarty's brother, Lewis, he pops down with a knife, ready to kill the goon.
Yes, everybody's favorite character from classic Sherlock.
Good old Lewis. And then the Earl is captured by Moriarty and brought to a foggy shack. I can't remember if they mention how they capture the Earl.
Oh, they don't.
They don't.
They capture his hitman.
Yeah, and then they just like assume, and therefore they capture the Earl too.
Yeah.
And what? And then they bring the Earl to a foggy shack in the woods, and they let the tailor whose son died from the Earl. They let the tailor kill the Earl because it's intense, and that's what justice truly is. It's just weird. It's just weird.
But Rem, it's got child murder. Shouldn't that be a plus in your book?
I don't know if it has child murder, because I want you to look back at that kid, especially when after like the first scene. I think his name was like Roddy or some shit.
Yeah.
That's like a 23-year-old man.
I don't know. He looks.
That is. You cannot convince me. He's short. He's short. That doesn't make him a kid.
He looked about 40 to me, honestly.
He is so old. He's just a short dude. He's just a short adult, man. Anyway, so that's episode 1. Not a great start. It wants to have this edgy sense of, like, true justice. And later on, we learn the true motivation. But I'm going to talk about why the motivation is bullshit, right?
Okay.
But I'll get there. Episode 2, we get this sort of like pre-opening, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the Fire Nation attacked, like that kind of thing. We get that in episode 2, except it's talking about, it's basically just woke as fuck. It's talking about imperialism, colonization, class divide, systemic inequality,
Mm-hmm.
So very, very surprising. It doesn't really give a shit about any of that stuff, but it's interesting it brought it up. You're like, wow, are these themes going to be explored? No. They will pretend to explore exactly one of those themes, and I emphasize that they only pretend to do so. So we see Moriarty he's in a train, and he's talking to a dude who's getting ready to gamble on some horse racing, and Moriarty is like, yeah, easy, just bet on this horse, it's gonna win. And we see a flashback to childhood Moriarty doing the same thing, telling adults like, hey, yeah, definitely just bet on this horse, right? And I thought there was gonna be some like interesting scam here, right? Yeah. Especially because there is famously a horse betting scam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, it's super interesting. It's just you tell a bunch of people the answer, but you give them different answers, and gradually, as you weed it out just by random chance, there will be a set of people who you've told the correct answer to, like, let's say 5 times in a row, and then they're willing to accept that you know what's up at that point, even though it would just happen to be that they were the few who got the correct answers every time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like super interesting. I was like, it could go this way, but no, Moriarty. Other than being he knows literally everything about everything, and is the smartest kid ever from the age of 9 up. Also, he is the most morally upstanding individual. Technically, he's an anti-hero, but even that is stripped of any possible nuance, right? Which we will once again get to. So yeah, he's not scamming. Instead, as you alluded to, he's just like, oh yeah, no, if you use statistics, then you can just figure out which horse is gonna win, like, the vast majority of the time. All right. Just skipping that. He's also asked for help on, like, every single topic from, like, botany to medicine. And in this flashback, he's, like, somewhere between, like, 9 and 13, I want to say.
Right.
And he knows everything about everything. So he's not just smart, but he's well-read. Also, he's an orphan. How is he this well-read? Fuck you. They play, all right, so we're already in a flashback, but then they play fast and loose with the flashback timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So we, like, see Albert, Lord Albert Moriarty, who they've called, like, brother previously. So we're like, all right, something's gonna be up here. And he decides to adopt Moriarty and his brother. But before that, we see, like, him bringing Moriarty back, and there's, like, Lewis, the little brother, he's sick, and there's a really strict asshole butler. And there's also a different, Albert's blood brother is just evil. There's a lot of exposition on why they are adopting, Moriarty and Lewis, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because, essentially, the Lord of the Manor has the hots for someone else, and who's been listening to, like, Carnegie's prosperity gospel shit. So it's like, hell yeah, brother. Albert learns that Moriarty has been helping criminals do criminal things against the rich. Because Moriarty, as it turns out, he wants to eat the rich. Straight up, that is his only philosophy in life. Now, you might think, wow, okay, so this could be a really interesting commentary on these class divides. Except no, because every rich fuck in this entire show, the way they talk is, oh yes, well, we don't want to deal with these low-born scum. We are the rich folk, and thus have no sense of morality. Those low-born scum, the absolute worst. Shall we murder an orphan, perchance? Yes, let's go murder an orphan. It would be a lovely time.
As a treat, let's murder an orphan.
Y'all might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm really fucking not. Every single rich fuck. Every rich fuck, except for our main trio, genuinely talks like this. And it's not, like, played for, like, haha, goof, so, haha, what a parody of how rich people view the world. It's like, they're like, yeah, here's a character. Yeah, pretty fucked, isn't it? It's like, I guess. There's just, like, no subtlety at all. But also the show wants to be taken very seriously. It's very strange. And then you might think, like, oh, let's talk about these class divisions. But one, the strategy of murdering random rich people, because that's what it amounts to, that is going to do nothing to handle the broader systemic forces of inequality that are responsible for the class conditions in the first place. You're just indulging in your own power fantasy. And then
when was the French Revolution again?
It was definitely before this. It was in the 1800s. So, well, no, wait, it would have been. I got caught up. It would have been. One second. Let me see. French Revolution compared to.
Because I think young Sherlock.
French Revolution was. I misspoke. It was the very end of the 17th century. No, the very end of the 18th century. So the 1700s. That's where I got a little bit screwy. Whereas Sherlock, the time period was early. Well, It would have been.
It was late.
It would have been late 1800s. So
if-
about 100 years prior.
Yeah, 'cause if I-
there's a 100-year difference.
Yeah, if I remember
There's 100-year
correctly,
difference.
Moriarty's first flashback is like in 1866, I think.
Yeah, so there's a 100-year difference between them. Hashtag what is it? Late generation? I can't remember. My brain's so fucking.
We're not
fried.
hip with the kid. It's fine. We don't know how to use hashtags.
Le wrong generation. There we go. That's Moriarty. He wishes he was in the French Revolution. But here's the thing. The commentary of like, wow, these class divides, look how fucked the rich people are. It's not, Moriarty is like, I want to fuck over the rich people and view everyone equally. But then we're presented with only the single worst possible individuals of all time. So it doesn't really matter that they're rich, because they are just the single worst people on the face of the planet. It'd be interesting if this is even like discussed in like Death Note, where it's like Death Note like it's going after like criminals and terrible people, but even then there's times where it's like, this is, I don't know if this is the way this should all be handled, and like I don't know if you can be the judge of this kind of thing, right? In Moriarty, no. Moriarty should be in charge. He knows everything. He makes the right decisions. And everybody against him is the single worst, most immoral person alive. It's like, cool. All right. Awesome. Really setting us up for an interesting story here.
I mean, hey, if he's right, he's right. Remington, I don't see why we have to argue. I mean, clearly he's the best man for the job.
Yeah. Anyway, so Albert comes to Moriarty, seeing Moriarty being like, hey, fuck the rich people, and a bunch of other poor people being like, yeah, eat the rich. And Albert's like, what's going on here? And Moriarty is like, eat the rich. Are you in, Albert, or are we gonna eat your ass? And then Lewis pops up behind with a knife and is ready to shank a bitch. And Albert's like, no, I'm down for eating the rich. Fuck them rich folk. So we go into episode 3, right? Where we get more introduced to Albert's evil brother, who's just the most evil brother of all time. He stabs the maids and the servants. He wants Moriarty to stab his brother, but Moriarty, because he's just too moral, too upstanding, stabs himself in the hand with a fork instead. Then eventually, what happens is that they catch the brother about to try and frame Moriarty and Lewis for doing bad stuff, but instead they're like, hey, fucker, we've killed the parents, and now we're gonna kill you. But Albert's gonna be the one to do it. Fuck you, bitch. And then they burn the house down. And then Lewis burns himself for basically no reason. So they burn the house down, and they're all leaving. And then Lewis, who's been useless up till now, it's just like, but wait, guys. He picks up a flaming piece of wood and just shoves it in his face, right? And he's like, and both Moriarty and Albert are like, what the fuck are you doing, Lewis? And he's like, this is to make it convincing. And Moriarty and Albert just seem to be like, didn't need to do that. And indeed, there's like no questions, or even, I don't even think there are any comments by like the officers outside trying to put out the fire about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think, oh, but maybe it's for an interesting like character scar. Maybe it's a shitty explanation because in the character design they wanted an edgelord scar. No, not even that. Lewis is a total pretty boy.
Yeah.
His face is flawless, no scars.
No, like, not even like, they couldn't even go do a Zuko on him, could they?
So why? Why did he burn his cheek so bad? I don't understand.
To show that he's got a hard and difficult past. To test his resolve, or whatever generic edgy backstory
Lewis is nothing but an extension of Moriarty. Speaking of, Albert is nothing but an extension of Moriarty. Moriarty is literally the only character that matters. I want to really emphasize that.
I mean, which Moriarty are you talking about? Because technically they're all Moriartys.
Okay, technically they are all Moriartys, but the fact that I've been using a name common to all of them this whole time, and everybody knows what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's the only Moriarty that matters.
Because William just doesn't sound right, does it? It doesn't sound right in the mouth.
Yeah. So that ends episode 3. We end the flashback. Moriarty gets to a new town where he'll be teaching as a math teacher. But first, at the start of episode 4, we get sort of a scene separate from Moriarty, right? Mm-hmm. Where these two lowborn parents, they're going to a fancy manor, and they ask the Lord to allow them to use his doctor because their infant child is going to die, right? Their little toddler is gonna die. And the Lord is just like, get fucked. So
I don't think he uses those exact words, Rem, but
no, but that's the tone. So, all right, everybody, guess who they're going to kill this episode and who they're going to get to kill them. All right, perfect. Congratulations, you're correct. That's it. We figured it out. We solved the riddle. Moriarty shows up and is invited by the Lord over for dinner. Has dinner where they learned that the Lord needs heart medicine and has a lovely garden. The gardener is the father we saw in the flashback, and his wife, and he has a wife who also helps out and is a servant on the mansion, you know? Mm-hmm. And Moriarty is like, oh, I immediately know what's up. I know. He's been told that she hates aristocrats, and he's like, ah, yes, because they killed her child. I don't think there's a scene establishing how he knows that the Lord let her child die, but he does canonically, he knows that for a fact. So he's talking to the gardener later on at a bar, right? And he's like, hey, yo, heard about the kid. And the gardener's like, what the fuck? This is not, what the fuck you, dude? And then
I find the best way to confront villains is to just yell at them about it in a public space. I just think it's the most appropriate way.
Hey, this one, he's not yelling at a villain. He's just talking to the gardener at this point.
No,
he's just
gardeners, villains, they're all the same to me.
I think every gardener is a little bit villainous.
Yeah.
But
Poison Ivy?
Moriarty's...
Come on, think about it. Makes sense.
Moriarty decides to be an asshole because Moriarty is like, so you just let your kid die, huh? And the gardener's like, there was nothing I could do. The Lord didn't let us do anything, man. And Moriarty's like, nah, you weren't powerless. You let it happen. Which, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You let your kid die. What? So, Moriarty, was he supposed to kill the Lord then and there, and then go in with the Lord's blood on his hands and be like, hey, Doc. I don't think that would have gone as well as you. What the fuck?
Hey, you gotta eat the rich, but I'm rich, so it's fine.
You weird, strange man. Moriarty, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, they have another dinner date with the Lord. They feed him some grapefruit, which fucks with his medication, and then he dies after an unnecessary weird little distraction. It's like implied to be necessary because it startles him, where the wife grabs a knife and goes to stab him, but is stopped by the husband. But it's all stupid and bad, and anyway, he dies. And then, I don't know, they just leave him in the middle of his own conservatory. And then immediately the gardener and his wife, they skip town to go work somewhere else at, like, with Moriarty's recommendation. But I have to imagine, like, the gardener and his wife, like, they knew people in the town, and it's like, oh, aren't they gonna be like, man, isn't it weird that that the gardener and his wife, that they skipped town immediately after the Lord? They both despised and really wanted dead, you know, after the whole letting their kid die incident. After the Lord died under very mysterious circumstances.
Huh.
Like, what the... But genuinely, they just sort of don't care. A lot of shows will be like, how do we cover up this blatant murder? This one just doesn't, it just skips it. This show will skip both the solving and any fallout from it. It has resolution, conclusion. That's it. What the fuck? All right, and then we get to episode 5. Episode 5, we open similar to episode 4 with another scene that it serves as exposition for what we're about to see. And it's a woman dancing on a bridge in the rain before she falls into the waters below. And I'm gonna say it. I need to say it. It's pretty weird fucking water. It's weird water. Why do they keep doing the CG water in non-CGI shows? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Budget
and I
reasons?
dislike it. Dude, I feel like just put fucking blue in there, all right?
Just blew that shit. That's fine. That's
And
water.
then add a couple like upside down seagulls to serve as the waves. You know what I mean? There you go. Water. Like, that's better than this CGI nonsense. It's ugly and hideous, and I hate it. Anyway, while teaching math, Moriarty is like, hey, yo, Tate, where's your buddy Lucian? And Tate's like, oh, he's sick, you know? And Moriarty is like, all right, I'm gonna stop by. And Tate's like, oh, God, you don't need to do that at all. Moriarty stops by. Surprise, surprise. It turns out Lucian wasn't sick, but he's been gone for 3 days. And also, Tate and Lucian are both definitely fucking, but don't worry about that for now. Like, not canonically, but also definitely canonically.
Yeah, it's England in the, 19th century. You're not allowed to talk about those things.
Yeah. So anyway, Lucian, a student, has gone missing for 3 days, and it's very strange and worrying. As Moriarty ponders the news he just received, we meet Dudley Bale, an administrator at the school. And Moriarty is like, hey, a student's gone missing for 3 days. And Dudley's like, probably don't need to worry about that. And Moriarty's like, I think it's something that we probably need to look into. And Dudley's like, kids are kids. They go missing sometimes for multiple days. And Moriarty's like, I think maybe we call the police. And Dudley's like, nope, I don't think that is a good idea at all. Let's not get the police. They're going to think, the students here will think we're just such sticklers if we call the police. And Moriarty's like, so you're the bad guy? I hate this fucking show, dude. Oh, God. That's how the dialogue goes. We learned some background that really does not matter. That the dancer on the bridge, her name is Frida. She and Lucian loved each other, and she got pregnant, and they proposed, and everything was fine. Blah, blah, blah. But that Dudley drugged and killed her, and that he has Lucian drugged on opiates down in a basement. So Moriarty, he gets Moron and Fred, which you might be wondering, Moran and Fred, where'd they come from? Fuck you. They're here now. And also, they send letters to Moran and Fred. They've already saved Lucian. By the way, they saved Lucian.
Yep.
Now you might wonder, wow, how did they save Lucian? Genuinely don't worry about it. They just did it. They show up in a scene and they're like, oh yeah, he's in the carriage. You know that kid we were worried about? The one this episode's plot is about saving and whatnot. We saved him off screen. What the fuck is going on? This is not how you tell stories.
No? No, you don't set up things and then, end them?
So then we get a scene, it's nice and foggy, right? And Lucian is by the bridge, and Dudley shows up, and Dudley's like, hey, you called me, bud? But, like, is he not? I don't know, it's a real weird scene. The guy you kidnapped then went missing, but you think the guy you kidnapped disappeared from your custody, but then you think he sent you a letter. What the fuck is going on here? But then, before Dudley can figure out what the fuck's going on, Frida, the dancing girl who committed suicide, she emerges from the waters. And Dudley's like, what the fuck? I killed this bitch. And Moriarty's like, aha, so you admit it. Which is, like, unnecessary, because they were gonna kill him either way.
Yeah, you don't need a confession when you're already planning on axing a dude.
Yeah, it's like,
that
you didn't need the confession.
Look, that's how you die to the mountain, right? Like, that's just a bad way to go about things.
So he's like, now you shall dance your way over the bridge. And Dudley's like, what the fuck do you mean? And turns out Frida was Fred, by the way. That's why Fred was involved. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But then Morin, his job is to take a gun and just snipe, not so he kills Dudley, just so he makes Dudley dance. And so that he dances in such a specific way to yeet himself over the bridge. And I shall not clarify any further. So, also, I should admit, there is like a weird exposition dump as they're talking to Dudley, where they're like, oh, hey, by the way, we figured out the mystery where you said you had hospitals, but they were actually brothels, and that's the way you got the opiates, and thus you were drugging a bunch of people after they were betting your prostitutes, and then you were taking them and drugging them until they offed themselves or some shit. And it's all done in like a single minute of exposition dump where they're like, oh, hey, here's the like solution to this mystery, or something. Who knows? This show has some of the worst storytelling I've ever seen in my life.
So you're saying it doesn't do the Sherlock universe justice?
Amazingly, no. And I don't think that's very hard. The Sherlock universe, not a very high bar, if I'm going to be honest, y'all. Y'all know how I feel about it. But this, it doesn't even make it over that low hurdle. It's like a weird style of pretending to be a serious mystery, but actually being more of, I don't know, an action drama? A really edgy action drama that instead of monster of the week, it's evil aristocrat of the week. None of the characters matter. None of them are interesting. You'll notice how I got through this without describing any of their character traits besides Moriarty being perfect in every way. Moriarty's perfect in every way. The rich people they kill are the most evil of all time. And that sums it up. I've given you the characterization for the entire show.
Well, you see, Rem, that's not actually the entire story, unfortunately, because there is one thing that people are going to be upset at me for in regards to this episode. They're going to say I didn't show you enough episodes. You know why, Remington?
Why?
Because Sherlock doesn't show up until about episode 7.
I'm sure he's really fleshed out. I'm sure he's such an interesting character.
But don't you want to see how Moriarty himself views Sherlock and how his rival in this world is going to like unfold, and how
I don't know, it's probably just gonna be like, hey Sherlock, you're a bootlicker, and then that's it.
And how it definitely doesn't start telling all the same Sherlock stories primarily from the perspective of Sherlock. There's no worry. There's no way. And they definitely don't try to make it edgy and interesting by changing the name of the mystery of A Study in Scarlet to A Study in S.
I cannot emphasize how this show mashes up multiple things that I dislike, and then it does all of them worse.
Truly, it's impressive if you think about it, Rem.
I would say, I will, to sort of defend it, I think you could find some enjoyment from this show through a sort of hate watch. This show, I think it might be in that category of like so bad it might be amusing to watch just by like hanging out with your friends and ripping it apart. Like it might be in that category. I'm not interested in trying that.
Well, you don't want to make this a thing where we just actively watch it together and do everything in our power to destroy it from the ground up, to make all the fans of the show weep in their sadness of how you feel.
I'm just terrified because what you're about to do is tell me that it's rated 8 point something, and I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Well, Remington, if you had to guess, what do you think Yukoku no Moriarty has in terms of a mal score?
I think it's all right. It's edgy and it pretends it's smart because it has a smart protagonist, and a lot of weebs can't tell the difference. A lot of the weebs can't tell the difference between a show that is intelligently written and just a show that has a character who the show is like, hey, but look how smart they are. And they want to see themselves as smart and see themselves as that character. So at least 8. But guys, I would rate this like a 2.5, so surely you guys can't, like... You gotta level with me a little bit. 8.1?
Okay.
No, just 8.0. 8.0. Come on, Weeps. Come on, Weeps.
You're trying to get them to restore faith in you, huh? Or you're trying to find faith in the weebs, rather.
I'm trying to have hope in him.
Okay, that's fair.
Which, it's not much hope, because it's still over fucking 8 that I'm guessing, which is... It was just ridiculous, but...
Okay, well, Rem, it's a relatively new show, all things considered. First started airing in 2020 with a second part in 2021.
Okay, then I'm gonna say 8.1, actually.
Oh,
Lock that
and
in.
why's that?
Newer means that people are still enamored over it.
Recency bias.
They haven't... some of them just haven't realized how terrible it is yet. So, I'm not gonna change it much, but... I'm going to go back to my 8.1.
All right. Well, it only has about 104,000 ratings, and Moriarty the Patriot is sitting nice and pretty at 8.12.
Fuck. Oh, fuck, I hate that I was so...
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's because of all the reasons you mentioned, man. It's edgy, and the boys are pretty. Like...
I hate this shit.
Oh, and I'm looking at a picture of Lewis now, and he does have a cheek scar, but it's so faint and so small that it's hardly relevant. And genuinely, I wouldn't be surprised if they forgot to draw it in some frames.
I don't believe. What the fuck? I ain't never see. All right, I googled Louis Moriarty. Is it? And it's like it's in some images. I guess he covers his face most of the time, so it's not
as obvious.
Dumb as fuck. Get the fuck out of here. I hate you.
Yeah, no,
all.
that's very much a pretty boy scar. Like it's in such like a perfect alignment with his cheekbone and his mouth that it's like, oh, that's just his ed. It is delightfully absurd that is the character choice they decided to go. They should have gone all out. They should have gone full Zuko with it, and then I would have had some respect for it. So I suppose, Remington, the final question to ask, is there any chance you'd like to watch a little bit more of Moriarty the Patriot?
No.
No?
Nope. Not, I maybe eventually I'll be down to hate watch it and just make fun of it, but...
Not even to try
then,
and see how they do Sherlock in this one? How do you think they're going to do Sherlock?
I cannot emphasize how little I give a shit.
Did you guess he's going to be a hot boy? Because you're right.
Well, I mean, that's a given, Shaun. That is self-evident.
Nobody who's a main character is not allowed to be hot in this series. That's just the way it goes, unfortunately.
If you're not a main character, then fuck you. If you are a main character, then you're sexy.
Look, if fucking Mycroft Holmes is just as pretty as Sherlock Holmes and anybody else, then I think you've got a problem with your Sherlock characterization. And Mrs. Hudson should not be that young and pretty. That's all I'm going to say. But yes, so with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Remington ripping into the classic detective tale, then please head on over wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify. And it really does mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if you'd like to support us more directly, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where both myself and Remington do play games on the internet and are usually very, very bad at them. But if that is not enough for you, you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you can gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to have your name read aloud on the podcast. So, Remington, who are we thanking this week?
Well, of course, we would like to send our regards to all of our magical girls, as well as our bland bitch protagonists, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we reach the yandere waifus, who, through their infinite intellect, are going to give us a bunch of money, but then, whoops, eat the rich. And on that list, we have Alex, a great incomprehensible jumble of symbols that ends with smiley face B. So
wow.
I don't know what you expected for that one, but I don't. That's all I can do. Xanax, Yandere Neko, you here? Walk Me Home Gently, VTubers Ruined My YouTube Algorithm, Veiny Jordan, Juliana, Tsundere Dragon, Totally God, The Suzanator, Sticky Jelly, Sorry Mother, Silent Secondary, Senpai Go Uzai Kuhai, No Hanashi is Everything I Wished It Would Be, Sarah Birch, Sammy Pritchard, Salty Pretzel, Reverse Shark, Remington, do wand length next tier. Oh, that, all right, you know what? Writing that one down. Thank you. Unironically, thank you so much. Remington needs to know what happens to Abdul's chickens. Also, part 3 bath scene is better than part 4 bath scene. Hayato. I don't know what you're referencing right now. Remington Merrill. I'm sure it's something we watch, but I don't know. Ready to be isekai'd. PSA 4, ADHD can make easy things hard to do, like updating a patron name. And that's okay. Check out How to ADHD on YouTube. Hell yeah, dude. No waifu, no laifu. Navi, moist and gaping is how I like my caves. Mike the Mutilator, Matthew Drum says Reb's a bitch. Makachop92, Luke-E-O, Luke Offenberger, Lucifer, Lonely Geek 23, Locked in Daddy Rum's basement, don't send help. Kazum Rocco, KZ Mosley, Just a Traveler. Joey Wheeler says, hey, Yugs, believe in the me that believes in the yous. Your drill will one day pierce the heavens. Joey takes some of my energy for the Toradora Christmas episode Spirit Ball. Jax, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists. Ichigo Sim 015, I Remington, enjoy Moe Lolly Girls. I have no idea what my name should be, so I'm lazy. I got high and watched Forest Fairy 5. I believe in Taiga Isuka Supremacy. I am thankful for the quintessential quintuplets White Swords cards coming out. What are you thankful for, Shaun? Shaun, what are you thankful for?
I am thankful for our lovely editor, Dylan, who has to put up with our crap.
Hell yeah, Dylan, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for editing this episode at 3 a.m. on Thanksgiving.
Cool.
Wait, no, you can't just... Oh, Dylan, I'm sorry.
You thought this was another Green Day repeat, but it was me, Dio. Hunter Davies. Hey, Rem, let me tongue punch your fart box. There's a lot of sexual tension between me and the patron names.
It seems like it.
You thought it was Dio, but it was me, Perfect Blue Psychological Roller Coaster. Good job, says Misaka. Glenn Michael Dolan. Kosely Bishi character ASMR has ruined my life. Fuck of Love Fox and Boy. Fern the Dude Man. Fallen Ghoul. Dylan Hayden. Data Type. Darkstorm 713. Danny Morabito. Saspolsky. Gudabim Jackie Chikigaloy Anime Not Swiki.
Is that fucking dark speech? What is that?
Glad album Snuggle Mix Online. I said something about Sword Art Online 1,000,000%.
Oh yeah, no, you probably said something like it's your favorite anime or something.
Yeah, Creed 13, Cody, Shy 900, Christian Moss, Cheese Monkey, Cage in the House, Rock Hard for Geodudes, Ariel Bird, Anime in Context, Andrew Rauke, Elise Howard, Alpha Weeb, All Farmer Wants for Christmas is All Farmer Weeb Wants for Christmas is a Toradora revisit, AJ Honey, and Adam McLaughlin. Thank you guys so much. Moving on, we're going over to Hogwarts for our Boy Wizard tier, where everybody is going to get the star of Harry Potter. You may say the barrel has fallen into the abyss. I ever say it was made in abyss. You know, I've heard that the star of Harry Potter, that he cried on set all the time. Daniel Radcliffe, I believe.
Oh God, that's what you meant. I was so confused, but now I understand everything.
Warning, you have reached the bottom of the barrel. The star of Harry Potter would always dress as a lumberjack. It was Daniel Radcliffe. Tony Valenti, what a boy, what an absolute man, a true winner. That's a Daniel Radcliffe. Shaun, I have to admit that I watch Boku no Pico in my free time and I love it. We don't want to overexpose the star. Maybe just a Daniel Radcliffe.
Just a little bit.
Rem's big toe. It only makes sense being in a school that also by the end he became Daniel Radcliffe.
Except he never did.
Hey, listen here, fucker. Pocket Gamer 513. Do you hear Raid Shadow Legends Inaudible? That's right, it's Daniel Radcliffe.
Well, we're never getting those sponsors.
P.I. Mayer. The star of Harry Potter actually filmed the entire third movie inside of a garbage bag. That's right, it was Daniel Gladcliffe. Pilkster the Sympho Gear advocate. The star of Harry Potter actually really wanted to be in Frozen, playing Olaf. Yeah, that's right, it's Daniel Josh Gadcliffe.
God, that shouldn't have made me laugh as much as it did.
Mizrar. The star of Harry Potter chased all of the latest trends. That's right, it's Daniel Radcliffe. MT the Poet. Boys will be boys, but there's been some very questionable humor from the star of Harry Potter. Yeah, that's right, it's Daniel Radcliffe. Momo the Griff. I just don't think he's that great. That's right, it's Daniel Badcliffe.
Ooh.
Miguel De Leon. While filming the movies, the star of Harry Potter actually became a devout communist. That's right, it's Daniel Comradcliffe. Justin Kessinger. While the star of Harry Potter has just had a child. That's right, it's Daniel Dadcliffe.
Oh.
I Live in Ogden. Yes, that one. Oh wait, and their child has just had a child. That's right, it's Daniel Grandadcliffe.
Oh, they grow up so fast.
I found How to ADHD helpful and inspiring. Kickstarter of the week 4. No active ADHD Kickstarters. Instead, here's a cooking one. Building soup.
Building soup?
Okay, yeah. It's just, cooking journey through the framework of soup.
Soup's
Learn
pretty
how to
good,
make soup,
so,
y'all.
That's not terrible.
I like some good a little seafish soup. Maybe so does the star of Harry Potter. That's why they call him Daniel Crawdadcliffe. Hinata is a ball of sunshine. You get that the star of Harry Potter, he's a wanderer of sorts. He's always traveling to new locations. That's why they call him Daniel Nomadcliffe. Gen 6S tier, Minion Shaun Doof, that's it, no one else competes. Also, X-Fist Torador Revisit, Lord Brock Doof. He loves tinkering, the star of Harry Potter. That's why he is Daniel Doodadcliffe. For Christmas, please revisit Toradora up to and including the Christmas episode.
Jesus, there's more of them.
It grows by the week. But speaking of growing, trees grow. And the star of Harry Potter actually loves trees. In fact, I think he might be a kind of spirit of the trees. That's right, it's Daniel Dryadcliffe. Darth Pikachu. Darth Pikachu. The star of Harry Potter actually was close friends with Clippy, the helpful Clip in word processors. That's why they call him Daniel Notepadcliffe. Beethoven 12. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Beethoven 1201. Daniel, the star of Harry Potter, he actually ignores a lot of human rights abuses. That's why they call him Daniel Riadcliffe. Hey, love you, Saudi Arabia.
Oh boy.
And Aaron Hegland, you are going to get, goddamn, the star of Harry Potter, he's just so damn cool. It's Daniel Radcliffe. Moving on, we reach the Chef no Musco tier, the highest of all tiers. This time, you all have your own mystery to solve. All right. So we have Tucker Schmidt. You get magnets. How do they work? Silicone Spectre. You get. I'm expecting these answered, by the way. So Tucker, I expect an essay on magnets as soon as reasonably possible. Mm-hmm. Likewise, Silicone Spectre. If you could figure out like the Zodiac Killer a little bit, you can start with Ted Cruz, but we want some like definitive stuff. Yeah. Pope of the Church of Remington Chase. What the fuck? What's up with the DB Cooper stuff? What's going on there? I suggest testing it out on your own plane and seeing how that goes. And lastly, my dear old mom, The mystery I pose to you, I'll go a little bit easy on you. Why do bad things happen to good people? So
Jesus Christ.
there we go. A couple. I expect nothing too intense. Chef and a Musco tier. Just 10 pages, single spaced.
Single spaced?
Citations. I'll count the citations in the page count.
Oh my Christ.
And so I expect that by Monday morning. So good luck. I'm excited. I like to think we're doing good things. With our
Unironically,
Patreon.
you gave the easiest one to the magnets guy. He doesn't even need to cite Insane Clown Posse. Like, he's fine.
How do they work? All right. Thank absolutely every one of you. If you would like to reach out to us, whether it's for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love you all very much. Happy Thanksgiving. And as always, don't fuck your sister. Alright.
As it turns out, Dylan wants to eat the rich.
This twink fucks.
It is currently 3:25 in the morning on Thanksgiving. I've got to be up in a few hours to do all the cooking, and I'm just wrapping up the episode, and Windows decided that it absolutely had to update, despite the fact that I requested the update be delayed for another 24 hours. So I lost a lot of the fun little edits that I had set for this episode, and I'm too damn drained to bother to words. Yes, I'm too fucking drained to words. I can't be fucking asked. However, I figured I would just jump in right here at the very end to give a little music recommendation. Since there aren't going to be any fun little weird edits, I'm going to recommend a band, Folk Hogan. They're a Utah band. They're kind of folk punk. They're kind of just whatever the hell they are. They've got a banjo player, they've got a mandolin player, they've got, I think, 2 guitar players, they've got a bassist, they've got a drummer. And everyone in that band puts on such a live show. I mean, the banjo player ends up splitting his fingertips occasionally, and blood's flying everywhere. And then you get blood in your eye, and then you're like, oh my god, there's banjo player blood in my eye, what the fuck, And then you go and you get a bright pink folk fucking Hogan fanny pack at the end of the show. Yeah.